One Piece manga chapter 1119 is titled Emeth. Oda-sensei often draws inspiration from various cultures, and this is another example. Emeth is a Hebrew word that means truth or fidelity in English. In Jewish tradition, Emet is an important concept that represents a core value in both personal behavior and interactions with others. After 800 years, Oda finally revealed a member of JOYBOY'S crew. It's the giant robot Emeth. This revelation is inspired by Astro Boy and the ancient lore of golems, where the name Emeth comes from. Their drums of liberation beat so loudly that he is reminded of JOYBOY. Before we learn about this deep relationship, the five elders continue their mission to kill the Vegapunk satellites, starting with Mars and Atlas. I'm sure you were as shocked as I was to see in the last chapter 1118 that Bonnie had become a second Nika. However, this was quickly dismissed as just another transformation from the Age fruit, so the only thing he can do at this point is blast fire. But Luffy, now a fully fledged sun god Nika, inflates himself into a balloon and tanks the Itsumade yokai attack. We know Luffy is incredibly tough, but he's almost to busted. In this arc alone, Luffy has used Gear 5 multiple times. The side effects of burning out and turning into an old man seem to be fading. Remember when Luffy used to turn into a tiny version of himself after using Gear 3? That's in the past. We may no longer see an old man Luffy as he perfects Nika mode. However, he still has a long way to go. Instead of trying to beat down Mars, Luffy plans to send him flying away like a team rocket. He tells Bonnie, Frankie, and Sanji that there's no point in fighting him because nothing hurts these monsters. They have insane durability and just heal from any damage. This might be due to the Opi no Mi immortality surgery or a connection to Emu Sama. The use of the Kabbalistic magic summoning circle can't be from their own devil fruits because it's unlikely all of them would have this power. It's probably from one user, either one of the Gorosei or Emu. Regardless, as Luffy endures Mars's fire, he stretches out his hands, grabs his wings, and locks him in place. Luffy then calls out to the Straw Hats to hit him with everything they've got. In her Nika form, Bonnie shows that her powers are not just for show. She uses Luffy's signature elephant gun. Including Bonnie and leaving out the giants might be Oda's way of telling us that she is the next honorary Straw Hat, alongside her father Kuma. Now, all three of these attacks collide into Luffy's balloon form, creating his new move called Booming Dawn Balloon. He bounces all that energy right at Mars, sending him flying to the moon. Note that Luffy mentions their combined attacks hurt him because of Haki. While this might refer to Bonnie and Sanji, it could also be the first hint that Frankie has Haki as well. Frankie is in a unique position in the world of One Piece. In most cases, strength comes from Haki or devil fruits, but Frankie has neither. Instead, he relies on technology to even the odds on the battlefield. You can see a similar situation with Nami, who controls the weather. Remember, everyone, we are almost at the endgame. Elbaf, the world government, and Laugh Tale are the final steps we need to take. We can't have members of the Straw Hat crew without the tools they need to move forward. In this next panel, Sanji tells Luffy that Nami and the other half of the group haven't made it out yet and are late. This might mean that Yokai Gandhi isn't finished, and a small fight could be brewing near the Sunny. Atlas decides to check out what's happening because she realizes that York is monitoring them through the connection with Punk Records. With Lilith in the other half of the group, the chances that these two remaining satellites might die are high. It looks like Atlas and Lilith might choose to stay behind so the Straw Hats can escape without being tracked. This would tie into the end of Vegapunk's story properly, but I hope it isn't the case. I really wanted Vegapunk to survive. Maybe Atlas will stay and Lilith will make it out, bringing the arc full circle. We finally move on to the ancient robot. At the depths of the ocean, it begins to move again, powered by the presence of the Toon Force. Both the robot and the transmission Denden Mushi inside it wake up. After all these months of listening to this transmission, I thought we would be free and could finally move on. But no, as the Denden Mushi starts up again, so does Vegapunk's transmission. It isn't as clear as before, but he continues from where he left off. He talks about the inherited will that has been passed down and hopes his message can inspire those who carry it to unite for a new cause. The rest of the world is left shocked and confused. For example, on Whole Cake Island, we see Katakuri and some of his siblings asking what Vegapunk means by all this. All it really does is reignite the efforts of York and the Gorosei to find and destroy the Denden Mushi once and for all. Jupiter, in his sand world form, arrives and spits out all the Cypher Pol agents and Seraphim he had swallowed earlier so he can try to suck up the giant ship. This could be for several reasons. By spitting out these soldiers, they can rejoin the battle on the marine side. Or it might imply that Jupiter has a limit to how much he can take in at a time, and with the giant ship being so big, he needed to make some space. Seeing Jupiter on his way back to attack, Luffy meets him halfway and lands a solid punch to his face. However, Jupiter isn't the only Gorosei member charging towards the ship. Warcury is also on his way, jumping over a fleet of marines trying to crash into the giants. This is where things get interesting. To me, this implies that the Gorosei's devil fruits aren't really devil fruits as we know them. Otherwise, this would be a suicide mission. Even if Warcury successfully rams into the ships and sinks them, he would be left in the water, just like the others. That couldn't be the plan unless these yokai are so strong that they aren't affected by the sea. Let's not forget that Luffy trained with sea stones and became immune to them over time. Who knows, maybe the Gorosei have a more advanced level of haki that acts like the coating on a ship, but instead they coat themselves. This could also be why Luffy's attacks aren't working. Regardless, Luffy is holding off Jupiter, so it would take another godlike figure to save the giants. If only there were another Nika, that would be hugely helpful. You might think I'm hinting at Bonnie, but after using her giant Nika attack, she is completely worn out and has reverted back to being a child. I doubt Bonnie's sun god form can affect her surroundings like Luffy's Paramecia awakening. She doesn't become as powerful as Luffy, she's just emulating his freedom. Haki is the basis for almost everything when it comes to power in One Piece, and Bonnie's fruit is no exception. For example, if she tried to turn Shanks into a child, it would either not work at all or have a much shorter effect because his haki is much stronger than hers. It's important for people to understand that while Luffy and Bonnie's fruits have many similarities, Bonnie is definitely not a true second sun god. Think of it this way, Luffy can reshape the world around him with his fruit, while Bonnie can reshape personal stories or potentials with hers. At the end of the day, their haki will control how effective they are at imposing their imagination on others. This is why Luffy is Joy Boy and the embodiment of the warrior of liberation. Only he can bring the dawn. Even Bonnie reached her freedom and Nika form through Luffy alone. Luffy looks back and sees that she is out of commission. Taking this opportunity, Jupiter starts a good sucking in the giants and their ships. Luckily, Jupiter isn't nearly as defensive as Warcury. The ancient robot hears a memory of the real Joy Boy's voice, springs to the surface, and imitates Luffy's left hook, smashing his fist into Warcury's face and shattering one of the boar's tusks. Emeth truly is one of Luffy's strongest allies. He didn't let us down, guys, you doubted him too soon. As he stops the boar's assault, he proves his worth. The chapter is titled Emeth, a Hebrew word meaning truth. It's not far-fetched to think that a continent puller named Emeth was the original personality of this iron giant. Consider that Jaguar D. Sol, who, according to a theory, is a descendant of a Joy Boy crew member, has a name from Hebrew literature as well. In Jewish lore, Emeth also represents a golem. Overall, Joy Boy seems like a Jesus-like figure, with Emu being a Judas, it all makes sense now that Emeth is up and ready to fight. It's simply a matter of taking out the Gorosei from here. This robot packs a punch. Last time, he was caught off guard, but now, with Luffy in the picture, his motivation is higher than ever. Hopefully, he will reveal more about Joy Boy.